Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we're going to recap what is essentially just day 2 of the Craig Jones Invitational 2 that we went out to in Las Vegas, Nevada. As always on the show, I'm your host, Maine, co-host
Corey.
How you doing, Corey?
Phenomenal, bro.
It is great to be back. It is great to have good audio again. Because, man, I didn't bring the mics for the first time to Vegas when we did the live show there. And I just brought like the standard recorder mic. Man, that was a mistake. So sorry last week for that. We already covered day 1. Miranda and I covered that when we were live in Vegas. We're just going to cover day 2. Next week, we are going to cover ADCC Asian and Oceanic trials. No. European trials.
Yeah, European.
European trials. Ooh, had a moment there. This next coming week, because again, it's kind of quiet coming through. We're just going through day 2, all of the controversy, information we know, talk about some of the matches, talk about some of the rules. I'm not going to get too rules lawyer. Corey and I had a great long pre-show where I specifically told Corey, I was like, hey man, I'm about to talk in circles about rules and regs and like the way things are written. So if I do that, just at some point, just like tap me back. So if you guys hear that, you know that it went on too long. So Corey, you watched it. You didn't watch it. You watched it live, but you watched the broadcast.
Yes.
I've watched bits and pieces of the broadcast. In the airport, I watched a lot of it, watching like, was it a 10-9? Was it a 10-8? That's essentially the big news of the week, is that it really comes down to, do you score Dorian Oliveras and Ethan Carlson a 10-8, 10-9? And then do you score Luke Griffith versus Nicky Rod a 10-8 or 10-9? I think that's the biggest controversy.
Yeah, you're right.
And then also the donor going, you know what? Fuck it. Everyone's getting paid.
And you get $1 million and you get $1 million.
That is so wild. Like, you have to be such a fan of grappling with deep pockets to just go, fuck it. You guys got screwed. Here you go, $1 million.
Yeah.
And Craig disagrees with it. And if you want to get into like the personal politics of a lot of it, go back and watch Instagram for the last 2 weeks. You will get many, many different interpretations and stories and back and forth. This show's not really ever been about that. You can go find that information on your own. We kind of talk about what happens on the mats, the athletes. We're going to go a little bit into it because I think there's a nice lesson here in how to build a rule set and how to write your rules. And as a guy that loves rules, it was an interesting weekend for me to go, oh yeah, you bulleted it wrong. That makes sense. Yeah. So let's kick it off with the ladies' $100,000 match, a match that has no controversy. Helena Crevar versus Sarah Galvão. The rematch, we saw it in the gi a couple of months ago. Dominant performance for Galvão.
Yep.
In no-gi, we talked about it again. We were previewing it. I kind of think it goes the other way.
Yeah.
I kind of think that Helena is a different animal in no-gi.
Yeah,
and Galvão just does not and has not had the high-level experience that she will need to be able to kind of mitigate what Crevar brings to the table. And I was half right. About that.
Yeah.
Round 1, it was close.
It was close. I gave the first round to Galvão, but they, like on the broadcast, they were saying the judges two of them gave the first round to Helena.
Yeah.
I disagree with that, but I'm not a judge.
I did too. And again, it was a very long weekend in Vegas. So again, as always with these recap shows for stuff we were at, I am biased because I generally remember what was happening in the arena and remember it incorrectly a lot of the time. And so I've rewatched all of this to kind of get back, but I'm going to make some missteps and errors because I'm remembering what we're watching an event live. I was sitting next to Austin. We just kind of chit chat and talk about what you're seeing while you're seeing it. And so the rounds blend together and it gets complicated. I remember giving the first one to Galvão, but I remember going into the third round specifically going, oh, it's even
1-1.
But Crevar is figuring it out.
Yep. You can tell after that first round, I think Galvão pushed the pace.
Absolutely.
And I thought she was just a lot more aggressive. And it seemed like that Helena was kind of holding on and kind of picking her spots to attack. Yeah. That second round, Helena came out like, fuck this. This is my house. And you could just tell it was a different pace to her. And she was a lot more masterful in her
You could also tell that Crevar went, oh, my pathway to victory here is probably not like a positional dominant win because Galvão is going to be like her father and like going to be positionally hard to dominate.
Yes, yeah.
But
good everywhere.
You could figure out and you kind of see that with the lack of grips, that Galvão still had some like very impressive things that she could do, but she wasn't able to just implement the same level of control versus Crevar. She would kind of get stuck a lot of times, like a double under and over.
Yes.
She would not be able to move, and Crevar has had people doing this. I mean, I remember watching Crevar's matches at her first West Coast trials, and then I was actually one of her judges when I wasn't a primary judge for ADCC, when I was a secondary judge for the World Open in 2022. I remember watching this happen where someone would try to double underpass her, wasn't able to finish it, and they'd run out of options. And I kind of watched the same thing here with Galvão. I was like, oh, Crevar is really, really comfortable with high-level women putting her in this spot.
Yeah.
And Galvão's not able to make it work, doesn't have the same series of grips that she had in their first gi match. And suddenly, like, Crevar, you see Crevar have a level of comfort here, and Galvão sort of, like, be looking for other options that Crevar, and like, oh, you've now played your dominant position.
Yeah.
But you've played into Crevar's game in a way where now Crevar is the comfortable one and knows that she has more experience here competitively at this level in no-gi.
Yeah.
And you saw like the confidence from Crevar, at least that's what I saw in the arena, was, oh, Crevar is now going to go after her. And then that continued into the third round, and the leg locks got better, and the bites got better, and you could see that Crevar was just sort of figuring out where she needed to push the match. And I went, okay, she has 5 rounds. Galvão can absolutely, with the master strategist of Andre and like the Atos camp behind her, can absolutely figure out her way how to fix this problem and win this match. But Crevar is someone, when she gets rolling, very, very hard to stop. And then she finishes with an ankle lock. As you said on the pre-show, what did you say in the pre-show? She finishes it with an ankle lock with what's the term you used?
A little something on it.
A little something on the side, I think is what you said.
Yeah. Kind of an Aoki lock kind of finish. But just to kind of add on what you're talking about, I think they have like the inverse type of experience. I think Galvão may be a little bit more experienced with the gi, a little bit less experienced with the no-gi. And I think for Crevar, it's complete opposite. I think she's obviously more experienced with no-gi and just been training recently a little bit more gi. So I think
she's also that silver medal at ADCC, last ADCC in that really dominant women's division. Yeah. You're like, by the numbers, like Galvão has not been competing against black belt women in no-gi. She just hasn't been doing that. Or she maybe ADHC, but like the majority of her matches for all belts, for everything, gi and no-gi has been colored belts. The majority of Crevar's matches the last 3 years have all been like upper echelon black belt or like world-class level women in open tournaments like that. So it's just like it's very hard to mitigate that kind of that kind of differential. And it's very funny. The ages are like the same.
Yeah, like 19. They're both like, what, 19, 18 years old, 18, 19?
I think they're both 19.
That's crazy.
18 or 19. I think Crevar, I thought they were both 19, but Crevar might be 18 still. It is crazy to have two of the best women in the world be that age.
Can't even go out and have a drink legally yet. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're still not drinking age, bro.
It's always funny when I have like Hopkins students. I'm like, all right, you're 19, you can't drink yet. That's funny. You have a big win, like, oh, you don't drink. Like, oh yeah, you're 20. Like that's not a thing.
So grab a Pepsi. Yeah,
get a Pepsi. So again, really impressive. I continue to be excited about where both these women are going, and I think Crevar is going to be an absolute nightmare for so many people to deal with come ADCC. Because trials is coming up. Yeah. Trials coming up in November here. Helena is not going to have to do trials because she's a silver medalist.
Sure.
So it doesn't matter. She will be invited back. If she chooses to come back, she will be invited back, as she should be, as a medalist in ADCC.
Isn't she going to fight for one? She's going to fight.
I'm
sorry, you just said that she has a contract with someone. I think.
But usually,
will they let them fight ADCC?
They did with the Rotolos. They left the Rotolos to CJI. But Ty actually, speaking of the Rotolos, Ty just got his first MMA win.
Yes, he did.
This last weekend. I haven't seen the fight yet. So I read the synopsis.
Yeah.
I think Rina Kachok win.
Yeah.
But I was like, I forgot that I need to go watch that. So that's that was the match, the $100,000 women's match. Again, phenomenal to see Crevar take that. It was exciting. Let's move on to not the controversy. The first couple of rounds here, I don't think were very controversial. Moving into the men's quintet bracket, we had first round of day 2 was Atos versus New Wave. I think personally, This was one of the most exciting rounds, and this kicked off the day. This was also the introduction of, hey man, day one was kind of boring.
Yes, it was.
Per online sources. And Craig Jones went, or the benefactor went, hey, $50K per sub.
Game on.
And then I was talking to everyone, and I was like, this is $1 million tournament. That's not going to change anything. And then to be immediately wrong repeatedly. And I was talking to Austin, and he was like, think about it like this. If you think you're going to win the decision or the draw anyway, you have no reason
not to go for it.
To not just go for it, win 50K as well.
Yep.
He goes, the guys that are already going to win that, it just incentivizes them to kind of push it towards the end because they can win and also get 50 grand out of a win anyway. Like, instead of just taking a dominant win, and I was, it actually works exactly as designed. And it did, and I ate my words, and I thought it was very funny. I was very, very happy day two to be super wrong about that.
Yeah, and also for someone who might be behind on the cards, they can shoot that Hail Mary.
Yeah,
and win. 50,
yeah,
50
I think you're more willing to take bigger risk and push yourself harder in a match that you're winning, and that was really the problem. It's guys that are winning, they're kind of happy to win, by decision there. Really, it's not really a draw. We keep saying draw. It's a double elimination if there's no sub, but these matches aren't draws. No. Someone is winning on the cards unless you get to your last guys, and then it becomes an elimination thing. So this event had some problems, and there'll probably be a lull some point in the year where we'll revisit the rule set and talk about what works really well and what doesn't, because I like to do that.
You can spend a whole episode talking about just the rule sets.
Yeah.
Rule set of this event.
And kind of why it did work and why it doesn't work. Wagner versus Kynan, a draw.
Yep.
Mika versus Hulk, a draw.
Which I didn't like that. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Go for it.
I disagree with the reset. I thought that was bullshit.
It was, so, spoiler, we got caught up at All You Can Eat Sushi, and it took us almost 45 minutes to get our check. And we're sitting there on our phones. And we're like, we had like 5 minutes from Thomas and Mac. And I was like, we're all watching us on our phone. So I'm walking in as these matches are happening. And I'm like, what? And like Austin and I are like looking at the phone. And Bernardo's looking at the phone. And my wife's looking at the phone. Maggie's looking. We're all kind of like walking and looking at like 3 different YouTube streams. So I watched the reset. And I went, huh. And we all debated this greatly.
I don't think he really stalled. I mean, I've watched it several times, and that might have been 10 seconds that have gone by. They were battling back and forth, and he had his head buried there, but he's up against the wall, and all of a sudden, he just resets him. He gives him the penalty, 1-1-1.
And well, it's a reversal.
Yeah, and reversal.
It's a reset and a reversal.
Yeah, so you lose a point, and you get reversed.
Which is,
reset.
And Austin and I were talking, we're like, you can game that in a weird way. If you want to be the bottom player, and I think it's an either or thing. I think what we settled on was, you got to do either or. You can't do point. And in a rule set like this,
both of them is a game killer together.
Yeah, and especially in a rule set where it's like it's so tight, your submission, your athlete quality is so high for this. Yeah. 1 point is usually the deciding factor for a lot of these matches in day two, especially. And we're like, ooh, that was a little harsh. That being said, it pushed both teams to really hustle in a way that I didn't hate from a games perspective, but I did think it was like something about it.
It didn't sit right with me, man.
I think the penalty is fine. It was like maybe a little quick here and there, but that's like a semantics argument, not semantics. That's like a different argument. That and the reversal are like, okay, that's
because I think up until that
wild.
point, I had Hulk winning. I had Hulk winning that 10-9 up into that reversal. I did. I don't know because he was pushing the action. Mika was on bottom a lot. Obviously, obviously Hulk's a bigger guy, but Hulk was pushing the action more. And I had him slightly ahead 10-9. But after that 1 point, obviously it's Hulk goes down. His max point is 9. He can't get a 10.
Yeah. Your best is a draw. Probably
a true draw, and you get reset, and all of a sudden he's on top. Okay, he didn't move for like 10 seconds or so, but you get a reversal. So now Mika's on top. Wow, totally different match then.
Yeah, it was. This one was weird. This one, I think, of all of the weird stuff in this tournament, this one was the weirdest to watch and go, something seemed weird about that. Mm-hmm. But regardless, it doesn't actually affect the result of this, which I liked.
Correct.
Next one, we had Luke Griffith versus Pato.
Sorry, Pato. How's your jaw, bro?
God damn, man. That is the best way to summarize that match. Sorry, Pato. Luke Griffith came out and was like, hey, man.
Everything above the neck is a neck.
I got to win this for us. And,
I want my 50 grand.
He did, and he locked it. But also, I was talking about this. Luke Griffith is one of the best rear naked choke artists in the world.
I did not know that until this event.
He wins over Kynan for rear naked choke. Like, he's just a phenomenal rear naked choke artist. And Pato, I was like, oh no, you're under 66 kilo guy versus your plus 99. And he gets him. And again, it wasn't.
I think he was like 90 pounds heavier than him. I think
he used that, and he used it well.
And he should have used it.
And it's how it should have turned out. But it made me sad because I like Pato.
Yeah.
Very impressive win. Again, to be able to control a guy like Pato was very impressive.
Pato was game though. At the beginning of that round, it was going back and forth, man.
And then you saw Luke decide, hey man, I'm the plus 99 guy. And
I'm Dunsky.
In this match, that was the big narrative for me, was that you saw Luke decide, hey man, I am the big guy here, and I'm going to be the big guy. And then it slowed the match down, and he was able to get it done. Next match. This is where the excitement begins. So the sub is like, we got a sub finally. First match is okay. Maybe it's gonna be a different weekend.
Yep.
And then Felipe Pena comes out like Luke Griffith owes him money, because in the format of the rule set, technically he does.
Yeah.
Felipe Pena came out faster in this matchup than I can ever remember him coming out ever.
Yeah, he came out swinging.
And I went, whoa, Pena wants this. And Pena is trying to win this for Atos because they are down a guy now, and they have to start subbing guys. And Pena knows that he can do it. He armbars Luke Griffith. Like late in the match,
impressive form, too.
And he's got it out.
He had to get a pop out of that arm.
They said it popped a little bit.
Goodness gracious.
But, man, like, this was one of the best performances we have seen out of Pena in the last 5 or 8 years. Like Pena has phenomenal wins. Pena has games wins and has had some great performances. This was a rare insight into Pena in a short form match where it's he can just run and go as hard as he wants to, versus a guy of parity and size that Pena knew hey, I can take you to the dark place here and just put a pace. And Luke Griffith is also tired from dealing with Pato. So it's you have a tired Luke Griffith. You have a Pena that knows he has to sub for his team. It makes for these highlight moments. He gets the armbar win, and I was like, he's going to break this arm. And Luke luckily taps. Pena moves on. And then I was like, okay, cool. Pena's, who they're going to field next? It's either Giancarlo or Dorian.
And they were calling Bodoni on the show. And all of a
sudden, you're not going to put Dorian. But again, tactically speaking, thinking about it, it makes sense that you put Dorian Oliveira. So I was like, okay, cool. Dorian's going to, he's going to try to stay safe versus Pena. And then Dorian comes out, and Dorian puts one of the craziest performances we have ever seen any 66er put on a plus 99. Pena was tired too. He just fought Luke Griffith. You could tell Pena was tired. You could tell about 2 minutes into that match, Pena was like, cool, I am going to stall you out, because Dorian Oliveira was coming for him, double legs off the wall, pushing into him, passing his guard, running through. And I went,
bitch better have my money.
Dorian Oliveira is going to be a nightmare for everyone come trials in 2 months, a month and a half.
Yeah.
And watching this, nobody does this with Pena. We've never seen a guy that is that undersized do that again. And Pena's tired. I don't want to take too much away from Pena, but to have Dorian come out as hard as he did. But again, he's also been in Gordon's camp. He's been at New Wave, where they have had many, many matches and training camps. He wasn't there for all about one of the last Pena one. Was the only Dorian match, was the only time Dorian was at New Wave. He missed the 2017 Pena match because Dorian would have been 12, I think, or something like that. The earlier ADC matches, who's number one match he wasn't there for. But this, for this last one at ADCC 2024, Dorian would have been in that camp with Gordon. So he's probably heard enough of the conversation about how to prepare for Pena, where that camp knows how to prepare for Pena. And so they probably gave Dorian some very actionable advice going into fighting Felipe Pena. But holy shit, did he deliver wildly impressive performance. One of the most impressive performances of the weekend, to see Dorian Oliveira be able to put that kind of just physical pace on a man that much larger and a champion caliber guy like Felipe Pena.
He took him to the brink.
Super impressive.
Yes, it was.
Very fun. So this collection of 4 matches are probably the best run of the entire event.
I agree.
By the way.
I agree.
Then double eliminated. We move on to Giancarlo. And I'm going to do a weird thing. You give whatever takes you want from here. Go back and just watch this match. This is one of the most impressive performances we have ever seen from Giancarlo. From a technical perspective, from a transition perspective, the armbar to the back take, back to the armbar to the transition. Giancarlo did things in this match that we almost never see from guys at 88 kilos.
Yeah.
That physically don't have the ab strength to do it most of the time.
He looked like Ronaldo. He looked, except he looked like he was doing Ronaldo on Ronaldo.
Yes.
He was just
transitions and
just linking
back
everything
takes
together.
and linking them together.
Nonstop.
Like, this is one of the greatest performances we have ever seen from Bodoni.
And it was very clean too. It wasn't sloppy. He was very tactical, very technical. He's
beating Ronaldo, and then again he has 11 kilo weight difference. He has some weight on him. Yeah. But to impose like this and put the pressure he was putting into into Ronaldo, and then late in the match you see Bodoni go, I'm winning this. I know I'm winning this.
Yeah.
You saw him go, or I saw him go, I want that money.
Pretty much.
I want that money, and I can sub you. I'm beating you. I'm going to win this. I'm also going to sub you doing it. The way that he got off that back for the armbar is not something we see guys at 88 kilos do.
It was 80cc Bodoni, like you said.
It really was. And that's like, it's such a... Whenever we talk about Giancarlo, it's so weird to talk about the two different dudes. Like, the Aiga performance versus Roberto Jimenez.
Yeah.
Look good. Jimenez is amazing. But, like, kind of a flat performance from Bodoni. He loses.
Yeah.
And then you'll have these, like, performances off and on. And then you see him come out in August and September as a different dude to do this. Like, no one does this to Ronaldo Jr.
Yep.
This is not a thing that happened. And then Bodoni gets the armbar sub in, like, the closing moments of the match. Like, I think late in the match, right?
I want to say like a minute left, minute and a half.
Oh, is it that long?
I think it took him a while to get there, I think, because Ronaldo was just so elusive.
I thought it was late in the match. But, yeah, he gets there in just a beautiful transition from the back over to the side to get it. Yeah. And then Ronaldo tries to get out, and you see Bodoni just decide, like, so you're not going to lift me. Breaks the grip, finishes the armbar down.
And he made sure that he tapped like 4 or 5 times.
That was one thing that I didn't kind of like how day one ended up with some of the
the drama.
But holy shit, man. We didn't sing a single one of those in day two.
They held on.
Which I like. I don't ever want to see an athlete get hurt because that limits longevity and there's a whole career implications for that. But I like when we know it's definitive. And when you get guys that know, hey, there's been weird taps this tournament, homies are going to rip it, and they are not going to stop until it is so clear that you've stopped and the referee has intervened that it gets everyone that elevated level of like, oh, this is a big tournament. Everyone taps. All of these taps in this entire day two were super clear.
Yes,
they were aggressive, and guys were like, hey, I'm done. And all the guys put in the sub, no one was being the nice guy and letting you go. Everyone went, cool, it's this kind of tournament. We're going to go for it. And I appreciate it because at this level, it was really unfortunate to have day one kind of marred by some of those moments. And Giancarlo sure as hell.
And that might be another reason why he was so hell-bent on getting this submission, because
getting one back.
He gave one back,
So, I kind of talked over all of this. Go back and watch New Wave versus Atos. Go back and watch Giancarlo versus Ronaldo. I know I say it a lot on the show. It is genuinely a match that is worth going back, pulling it up on YouTube. It's free on YouTube. Going back and finding it, pause the show, pick it up on YouTube. It's like 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
It is a really exciting match for some really special jiu-jitsu that we do not get a chance to see very often.
Yeah, I agree.
And some transitions that we just like, you don't see from guys like Giancarlo unless they are in peak shape, peak form. Like physically, he can't do this all year.
Yeah.
You're going to get a couple of these matches out of his career ever like this, and this is one of them. It's truly a pretty special and impressive match.
He slowed the Flash down. He made the Flash look slow. He put Flash on his back foot, which you rarely see.
So New Wave takes this one because they got more subs there, and regardless of all the weird scoring at the beginning, they move on, and everyone kind of went, okay, yeah, I agree with that. So then we move into Team Australasia versus B Team. This was essentially a B Team like tournament almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which made me kind of like B Team and Lachlan.
Yeah.
Essentially, there's a lot of crossover there. We had Chris Wojcik versus Lucas Kennard. Really fun leg lock match back and forth. Corey, stop me whenever you want to, by the way, because I'm just going to run through the double eliminations pretty quickly. But if you have points you want to make, go for it. We had Nick Rodriguez versus Kenta Iwamoto.
A very game Kenta.
Dude.
He impressed me. I know he was I know he was a dog, but he's a grown-ass man, bro, with no neck.
Yeah, man. For him to block the doors. This is one of those matches where you know the guys train together.
Yes.
And you could tell that Kenta was sharp enough to know, like, yep, I know what Rodriguez brings, and Rodriguez is trying to put me away.
Yep.
I know what I have to do. Really impressive Darce defense from Kenta.
Really?
And just an unwillingness to kind of give up and, like, accept the draw. Like, he knows that Rodriguez is a guy that if you start to just, like, play to accept it, he's going to run you over. And you really have to, like, it's one of the things that Kenta Iwamoto does the best, I think. Like, watch his match with JT Torres. Kenta is a guy that knows that if he is, like, defending, even if it's active defense, that you're going to lose versus the best guys in the world. And this was, like, a great example of that, where you saw, like, at no point did you see Kenta, like, kind of give up and go, okay, I'm going to play for the draw. He was in it and, like, he was losing.
Yeah.
He was pretty clearly losing most of those exchanges. But he was always in it and always moving and never just kind of like, I'm going to wait this out.
Yep.
He was always actively improving his position, actively working, actively looking to put his own offense together. Shoots a nice double leg at one point. Like, he
almost submitted him. He almost submitted him with a belly down leg lock. I'm not sure what you even call that, but Nicky Rod's leg was stuck in there. Remember?
And he's just gunning for it.
Gunning for it.
You're really
you can see Nicky Rod's face going, oh, give me that elbow. I want to relieve that pressure.
You could see Nick Rod going, I like this. And he also, the respect that he has for Kenta to know that, like, ooh, this guy's good enough where I really have to
And he's probably caught him in training with that a couple times.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. And you train enough in a high enough room, long enough, guys are working to get better on stuff.
Very impressive. He was 50 pounds lighter than Nicky Rod, probably roughly, right?
Yeah, you're 22 kilos on the weigh-in.
Yeah.
Different. I don't know what you are day two, but yeah, you're minimum 35 pounds difference, if not 40.
So I was really impressed with that, with his display there. So.
Dude, Kenta won tries at 66 kilos in 2019. He ain't winning that now at 66 kilos, but Kenta's a different size guy now. But just to put it in perspective of, like, again, one of my favorite guys to watch is Kenta. Miranda loves his quote, I like to wrestle. So moving on, we have Ethan Carlson versus Declan Moody. Yep. Again, two guys that train at a B team. A draw. This was Declan trying to put Ethan away. Ethan doing great. Ethan's the only guy from day one that didn't go.
Yep.
So I did like that they called him a lazy piece of shit in the first day. That made me laugh and chuckle so hard.
Yes, he did call him that. Yep.
Draw, any notes on this one?
No, I mean, Ethan was holding on for dear life. Yeah,
and
they train together, and they're 70 pounds apart, something like that. They know each other's game very well.
Yeah, easily.
You can kind of see a little exchange after they finish. They said a couple things to one another, so they know each other very, very well. Friends, training partners. So
both instructors at
I'm just glad Ethan didn't get hurt because Declan's a big boy and he can move.
A big boy. It was good. It was Ethan. Ethan played it exactly how you should play when you have almost the largest weight gap. You're like, hey man, you're playing here for either a flash sub or you're playing for a draw, and that's how we take big guys out to make it more even for parity.
There you go.
And then we had Victor Hugo come in. Holy shit!
Oh boy!
Arguably the best guy in the tournament, depending on what rankings you look at. Gets Fabrizio Andre, and I got sad because this is again kind of like Ethan and Declan, where you have under 66 versus under 99. Well, now on the opposite side, you have under 66, but you have plus 99. And Victor Hugo, that plus actually means something.
And a plus.
Yeah, Victor Hugo is not a guy that's making under 99.
No.
Like, Victor Hugo is a solid 265, can probably make the cut down to 240. Yeah. But even then, he's not getting down to 99. He's not getting down to under 99.
He's just a naturally big
Fabrizio
guy.
is, again, a guy that can make 145.
Yeah.
66 kilos. And Victor Hugo looked like a guy that was going to impose on Fabrizio Andre. He gets it done with a head and arm. It was impressive that he was able to kind of control Fabrizio Andre as much as he did, but also when you have that much weight and Victor Hugo very much knows how to use that weight. It kind of looked like exactly Fabricio had Andre has always had some moments.
Yep.
But eventually, you saw Victor Hugo go, yep, I am Victor Hugo, and I'm going to get this done.
And I want an extra $50K.
And I want the money. And Victor Hugo, you could tell wanted the money because after he like does the dollars thing, and I was like, good for you getting that money.
Yep.
Then we were like, cool. So B team moves on because the entire time in the arena, they had like baseball cards up of all the fighters. And every time someone would be eliminated, they would cross them out, and it was like a really nice graphic. I wish they had names. I wish they had the weights for them. But it was a good way to see, where teams stacked up for day 2.
Right.
Bilal at Charbati, the entire time has been crossed out because we're like, cool. His leg got hurt day 1 by Kyle.
Yeah.
He's out. And then I was talking tons of shit in the stands. I was like, dude, we got $1 million on the line. I don't give a shit how hurt you are. We're gonna wrap you up and we're gonna send you out there.
There you go.
And I was like, he must be really hurt if they're not gonna do that. I was talking to Austin. I was like, if I am injured, like, we have $1 million on the line. You're splinting it, and we're sending my ass out there because there's a shot. And then to Bilal's credit, man, they went, and returning from getting his leg broken yesterday, Bilal. And I went, and the whole arena went,
wow.
I was like, he's a gangster for that. Because, you got hurt. You get your leg broken, and you're still out for your team.
Yeah.
And, you're not fighting, like, the 66er, the 77er, the 88er. You're fighting arguably the best guy in the world.
The best and the biggest guy in
Victor
the
Hugo.
Uh-huh.
And we all went, in the stands, we went, all right, does Victor Hugo does he go for the leg or not? Like, does he just
that was my question.
It was one of the because we all kind of went, I'm not going to be upset if he goes for it, but like it is a little fucked up.
Kind of a dick move to do.
But also, it's $1 million on the line. Like, if I'm your teammate and you don't get it, I'm going to kind of go, hey, man, there's $1 million on the line for me. You're in professional sports and professional grappling. There are really no dick moves. It's allowed in the rules. That's very different than training in the room.
Yeah.
To Victor Hugo's credit, man, you see Bilal pull because he just slides on the wall and gets in front of him. He's like, hey man, I'm here to do my thing. I'm here to put up for my team. And you see Victor Hugo kind of like go to pass him, and I went, if he sits back on this leg,
yep, I thought the same
I'm gonna laugh, but I'm also gonna be a little sad. And then you see Victor Hugo go like, and do start to pass, and I was like, wait, you're a much better dude than I am, Victor Hugo. Like credit to your humanity.
I'd have grabbed the damn foot, man. Bro. I'm sorry, that's $1 million. That foot would have been mine.
And that's what I. But also, I
wouldn't have cranked it, but it'd have been mine.
On the other side, I was like, Victor Hugo is probably good enough where he went, you're plus 99. You're a guard player now because you have 1 foot. I'm also a phenomenal guard player and passer. I can probably get this done and not need to be a dick here. And then I'm good enough at footlocks that late in the match, I can probably counter, then get you. Like, if I need to, it'll be there late.
Yeah, true.
I lose nothing by probably being able to win this pretty cleanly because I'm just Victor Hugo. And if you aren't hurt, I beat most people in this tournament. And then we saw him do essentially exactly what he did to Fabricio Andre a few minutes earlier.
Yeah.
Had an arm choke, top position. And then Victor Hugo was very excited.
Yes, he was.
Big boy walking out with 100K. I did the math. 5-man team. You split $1 million 5 different ways. And then do you pay your coach? Is your coach a percentage? Like, let's say you don't. Each guy's walking away with 200K. Victor Hugo is walking away with 100K his first 2 matches. In addition, if he wins, he's already got half his prize money leaving the first bracketing round of day 2. I thought it was like crazy. Victor Hugo has basically made almost close to what he thought he was going to, half of what he thought he was going to make in this entire tournament by just being Victor Hugo and subbing guys. So
that's pretty baller.
The submission paid off. B team moves on. Then we move into the controversy that what we all kind of thought we were going to get anyway in this tournament. You looked at how it was bracketed. You looked at the teams. You looked at the history. You looked at the storyline. You kind of went, this kind of makes sense. Any team, there's many live dogs in the fight for these teams. B team versus New Wave is what I would guess we're going to see in the finals based on the strength of the teams that they have fielded and the tactics and the knowledge, like probably where it's going to end up. Match 1, Chris Wojcik versus Mika Galvão. Chris Wojcik put up, man. Mika Galvão looked a little, not tentative, but was not blowing through guys in this tournament like we have seen him do in the past. It was an interesting pacing from Mika Galvão. Now expecting a child, so congrats to that guy. Yeah, it was Wojcik again. Wojcik was an ADCC medalist, no slouch of his own. He did it in 2024, a little off year for ADCC, but still taking nothing away from he is an ADCC medalist. He's not a slouch. He's not as well known as a lot of the other guys, ADCC medalists, but not a slouch in the slightest.
No, he's not, and he will take your foot home with him.
He will with Wojcik.
And I think Mika, knew that. Maybe that's why he was so tentative with him.
Because Mika's also occasionally gotten counter foot locked.
Yeah, but he was trying a lot of long range patching. Feet were way back behind him.
Man, I'm going to try to win. I'm going to try to control here.
Yep.
I'm going to probably take a draw win over Chris Wojcik. If you look at the scores at the end, because we now have all the scores for that, Mika takes that 10-9. And I went, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
No problem with that, Corey?
No problem at all.
Makes sense. Okay.
No problem at all.
Next match, it's Victor Hugo versus Wagner Hosha. And I went, okay, Victor Hugo, Wagner's a dog. He gets out of a rear naked choke in this match that I was very excited. And I was like, there are less than 12 people in the world that get out of that rear naked choke.
Agreed.
Victor Hugo was locked in, ready for another 50K.
Did the rights.
And Wagner just was like, nah, I'll die for it.
Yeah.
And just stayed moving, stayed under, and he gets out. Not only does he get out, he gets out of the back mount.
Yes, he does.
And makes it standing again.
Yeah.
And I went, very few guys in the world will ever be able to do that with Victor Hugo. Wagner Hosha literally is the definition of he got that dog in him.
Yep, pretty much.
Man, Wagner's competed as low as 45 too, by the way. In the UFC.
Are you kidding
He was a
me?
UFC fighter back in the day when that meant something at 45.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. He's done 55, 66. He's done 77. He's done 88 now. Going against Victor Hugo to block that choke and then get out. That was just...
Well, that was his job in this tournament, to be the stopper.
It was. And he did.
He did it very well.
You bring Wagner because it's
he
he's
knew the
going to throw a
assignment,
wrench into guys. He's going to make anyone that can beat him tired. He's probably not going to get subbed.
Nah.
You can bet on a lot of things.
You'd have to choke him. I mean, he's not going to tap, right? So you got to put him to sleep.
We watched Ono Flanagan break his foot.
Yeah.
And then Ono Flanagan says, the break? And Wagner goes, yeah. And Owen goes, you're really about the cause. And Wagner goes, yeah. And then beats Owen later in that match.
That's crazy.
That was in an ADCC match. Owen breaks his foot. And then I saw him the following day at the Stratosphere in Las Vegas with his family in a rolly scooter. In a little mobility scooter.
Wow.
And I was like, he looked at me. I looked at him. He was with his family. He was all beat up from ADCC. And I was like, he knows, he recognized me. Cool. I can give him the nod as you're awesome. Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. And let him drive away and didn't bother him with his family the day after ADCC, but his foot was all wrapped up. And again, Vic, not 15 people in the world get out of that rear naked choke the way that Victor Hugo had that locked in.
Agreed.
He gutted through that in an impressive way that's just that made me go, man, I couldn't have done it.
No.
I physically couldn't have done it. And then mentally to get crushed like that in that moment and not have to quit. Mm-hmm. Not just involuntary. Wagner's just Wagner probably at no point ever in that moment thought about tapping to that.
I don't
and that's why he's the most consecutive ADCC medalist of all time.
Yeah, I can see that. Great back defense.
Yeah, dude.
Great.
I want to go back and watch what he did.
I need to incorporate some of that into my game.
Dude.
Someone's on my back a lot of the gym.
A lot of guys get out of the choke.
Yeah.
Not a lot of guys get out of the choke and then also get out of the back mount.
And then attack.
And then
end up standing and then start attacking again. Who is this dude? The Terminator?
Wagner gave him the good choke. Also, missing one tooth. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So from day one less tooth than the day prior, Wagner. They go to draw. That was 10-9. Clearly 10-9 Hugo. Wagner has some moments in it, but again, it's clearly 10-9 Hugo. Then we move to where it starts to get controversial because this whole weekend's been controversial anyway. Ethan Carlson versus Dorian Alvarez. Interesting storyline here. Both under 66ers. I don't know if we've seen this up to this point in the tournament.
I don't think so.
Also, both former training partners. Dorian was at New Wave for a long time.
Check and check.
Also, they've had a match against each other. At trials in 2023.
Yeah, I guess 2023.
It was 23 or 24 trials. I think it was the 23 trials because I was at it.
Yeah.
And Dorian, notably pretty raw, really good wrestler at the time, stays away from Ethan in that match, and then is able to win on decision. And Ethan kind of complains later, and Superman, he's like, yeah, he kind of stay away from me and didn't do a whole lot. but he also stayed at a range where you can't do a whole lot. So he's just more active, and he kind of wins that in a very kind of close, contentious match. Dorian is not that guy anymore. We watched him fight Felipe Pena like he was going to beat and win against Felipe Pena and then do it. He puts a pace on Ethan.
Yes, he does.
And Ethan is, again, ready for it. Ethan's also a veteran, been a veteran for a long time, multiple-time trials winner, not multiple-time ADCC entrant. Like, Ethan's no slouch.
Yep.
Been there, done that. Also, faced Dorian, trained with Dorian, knows that Dorian is going to bring a level of pressure and aggression that he's going to have to deal with, and Ethan deals with it. And Ethan very clearly is losing this match at the beginning sections until Ethan gets a moment. Ethan grabs a leg, and Ethan essentially, it's kind of like Mexicana. He basically just like turks the leg.
Yeah.
And Dorian, with his wrestler knees, eats it, and it pops, obviously. And Ethan goes, cool, I've had a big moment in this hard, weird leg transition thing. I popped it. They may see it as a sub. They may not see it as a sub attempt. Regardless, it's been very clearly Dorian up to that point.
Yeah, it's been about 5 minutes up until that point. Yeah.
And then the last 3 minutes are primarily Ethan from the guard, Dorian being unable to pass, Ethan opening, trying a few things here and there. And I finished that match, and I went, okay, so Dorian wins that, but Ethan made that a lot closer than, I think, it's exactly what I said, because I didn't think it would matter at the time. I was like, but Ethan made that a lot closer at the end than I thought he would be able to.
Correct.
And I go, okay, it's the 10-9, Dorian clearly there, and we move on.
Yep.
This is, I think, the most contentious match here for the scoring is, do you think that 5 minutes of really, really dominant control and then 3 minutes of back and forth and then a weird leg lock sub attempt here is enough for a 10-8 for Dorian? You and I don't. I think we're clear on that.
Yeah, we're clear on that. It's
a lot of people do, a lot of people don't, but I think I'm also used to, like, you look at MMA scoring, like old school MMA scoring, you got to kill a guy to get a 10-8 or 10-7. And you typically, when I am used to like how these are scored for 10-8, is you have to have overwhelming offense the entire time, usually have to almost put the guy away numerous times, and really not have him be able to do anything to you during the match. Can't do, like, there's just nothing. There's no
one-way traffic.
There's you're only getting defense, and then you're also not getting any control in the match. So it's like the 3 minutes that Ethan has at the end, where it's like he's not doing a whole lot with it, but he is controlling Dorian. He's limiting Dorian's offense, and he's working for something. He's not getting anything.
Yeah.
But it was like, it's really hard for me to call that a 10-8 because it is not 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes of Dorian just dominating. It's 5 minutes of him dominating, a little more than half the match. That is a very clear win for me, but not criteria in my eyes that meets a 10-8.
Yeah, I think if you take out that one sub attempt by Ethan, I would probably go toward 10-8. If he were to just get guard and maintain the whole guard for the last 3 minutes, I might make it a 10-8. But being that Ethan did attack, and he did make it was legit attack, because I think he said it on the podcast that he heard
Dorian's leg.
He heard him make a sound and like yip or something. But he said he doesn't think it was loud enough for the judge to hear or something like that. But he said that he did make a sound.
I'm also, if I'm Ethan, gonna say that, like, not that I'm disparaging Collinston. But I'm saying, like, I'm gonna say, like, it was tight, it was good, it was in.
Yeah.
The sub, the weird leg he threw, like, at the time in the match, I was like, is that I didn't know to call. I didn't even know it was a sub. I thought he just, like, had got his leg and was looking for control. His leg. It
looked like he was kind of just trying to pull it.
That's what it looked like to me, and I was like, I'd be hard pressed to call that a sub. For me, it's the control thing. Dorian had amazing offense for 5 minutes, and then has 3 minutes of not being able to put up that offense. For me, that's like, okay, clear 10-9, but not criteria for 10-8. It wasn't like it wasn't
total dominance for 8 minutes.
And that's why it's like, for me, for a 10-8 in jiu-jitsu, you need total dominance for the whole time, and he didn't quite get there.
I mean, it got to that point at that 3 minute mark. You're like, whoa, was Ethan he turned the corner? And I was like, you know what? He had there's a complexion to the match. Like, you know what? Ethan has a path to victory here. Will he get there? We don't know. But after that, he turned the corner. It was a different match. And I'm like, that is not a 10-8 match. I'm sorry, it's more of a 10-9.
That's what I thought too. I was like, cool, very clear for Dorian. Like, Dorian with more time can make that a 10-8.
Sure.
But I didn't see a 10-8.
No.
If you did, like, good for you. We are in a sport with really wonky and inconsistent scoring criteria. So, like, you're probably not wrong. And if you were a judge in the event, like, I think it's not unreasonable to make an argument for it being 10-8. I don't agree with it being 10-8, but you can make an argument, and which I think is kind of the fun of the sport, but also some of the frustration of the sport, because it essentially comes down to that. Next match we had Joseph Chen versus Giancarlo Bodoni. That's a 10-9 for Bodoni. Didn't sub Joseph Chen. Joseph Chen didn't get subbed by Bodoni.
Yep.
Any specific notes on this match?
Nah, it was one of those. Yeah, he just dominated him. I think from what I remember, Bodoni was just dominating from the top. Joseph Chen was in guard the entire time.
Yep, working passing. Again,
Yeah.
10-9, clear for Bodoni.
Yeah.
No finish. And then we get into what I was going into this, because I didn't know the rules ahead of time, was like, okay, so Nick Rodriguez has to sub Luke Griffith. That's the only way they win. And goddamn, did he get close.
He was probably about 15 seconds. If he'd had another 15 seconds, he might have got it.
Might have got the triangle, but
Yeah.
2 minutes-ish so on the feet. Luke kind of, at one point, turns Luke. Never is able to get any control on Rodriguez down. Never able to get him down. Never able to hold him down. And then Rodriguez hits a takedown into an immediate pass with 6 minutes in the match. So we've had nothing
Right.
on the feet, because it was kind of feeling out. That 2 minutes that I love to complain about. It's like,
2 minutes of nothingness.
which makes sense, but like you have both guys working towards it. They're both fresh. There's a lot on the line here. This is the $1 million match potentially. You gotta play, and you're even almost to this, or your New Wave's ahead up to this point.
Yeah.
So it's like I can play it a little passive and not necessarily need to overextend with a guy like Rodriguez. Like, both guys, it makes sense what you're doing, but really nothing happened on the feet. Right. And until the one takedown that Rodriguez is successful with, I was like, cool, that's the first moment of the match that I would like reasonably score if anything else happens.
Right, sure.
And then it is 6 minutes of Nick Rodriguez trying to put Luke away in a different way than Dorian Oliveira versus Ethan, which is like control, good sub attempts, but this is good sub attempts from Rodriguez, where it's like you can see Rodriguez levering into stuff and Luke having to gut through and turn and get out and transition. Luke's unable to really ever get him back into the guard. He never gets out. The best thing he improves to is side control.
Yeah, that's about
back
it.
mount,
Yep.
mount, like,
Yep.
and it is Rodriguez. There's Luke doing everything to not give his back to Rodriguez and pressing the shoulders, like beautiful defense for the back defense. But from that, because he's pinned so far back, he's never got back on the guard. He can't do what Hugo does, which is kind of push Rodriguez off.
Sure.
And it is dominant work from Rodriguez and submission offense.
Clearly one-way traffic that last 6 minutes. It's a clear
you
dominance.
knew that Nick was going to have to put him away. Nick was working like he was trying to put him away. They finished the round, and it was like, okay, was that a 10-8? Did he 10-8 him?
Right.
And they come out. I was like, okay, well, New Wave, I think New Wave, it's not 10-8 because I haven't seen a 10-8, but if I did see one, that might be one.
Sure.
And this is kind of after the fact. We go to all the kind of controversy where it's like, okay, well, it's all draws. Athletes are eliminated by the draw. Then it goes to the final match. Nick clearly wins the final match. Judges give him a 10-8, which I think on the rewatch is very reasonable. I would have scored that a 10-8 because Luke does not have a moment of offense in that match.
Right. Agreed.
And it's like that's kind of criteria. It's like Luke doesn't have a single moment in that match where he is doing anything offensively. He is defending the entirety of the match from the offense that Nick Rodriguez is putting up. That is criteria, for my understanding, in like MMA for a 10-8. It's like he didn't do you weren't able to do anything. You didn't get subbed, didn't get put away.
But he didn't mount the offense
I didn't
either.
think it was a 10-7.
No.
A 10-7 would be, so in my eyes, a 10-7 is like you have 3 or 4 really solid sub attempts where I am impressed that you got out. At that point, we have a 10-7. I think this is clear 10-8. Not 10-9. You can, and there's a bunch of arguments for a 10-9 here. I think this is clear for a 10-8. If you don't score this a 10-8, I really would be kind of hard-pressed to wonder what you do score a 10-8.
Yeah.
But again, we live in a sport with weird, wonky rules, so
Of course.
like you can make an argument. If you have an argument, send us a DM. I'm super curious, how other people saw this, because this is the biggest tournament of the year and it has this level of controversy because there's obviously a lot of different opinions in the community for like how we see the things, which leads to me to go, okay, maybe you need to have very, very well-defined rules. It ends up on the night, the result of a draw for both teams ends up with the winner of the last match, clearly Nick Rodriguez, getting the win. On the pre-show, Corey and I kind of talked through all the rules that were posted, the bullet points that were posted. I don't honestly really want to rehash it too much. I work in regulatory as the job that pays for the show, essentially. I read a lot of like CFR. I read a lot of Maryland regulation. I read a lot of like law, and not a lot of law, but a lot of like reg interpretation and like law for field.
Yeah.
When you have a rule written, a lot of times you will have what's like field law, where it's like, this is what it says, this is what it means. Mm-hmm. If you go and read through the bullet points that are like posted for the judging and for the winning, of like, hey, if all teams are eliminated, there's 2 bullet points that are the 2 main bullet points. One says one thing. Mm-hmm. One is very clear that one is somewhat clear.
One is somewhat
that it's New Wave,
and one
is somewhat clear that it's B team.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if you read the first comment, I think Damian Anderson posted it, the 2 bullet points there. There's a bunch of comments that basically call, hey, that first match is designed to help to deal with this edge case of there being like an elimination when it's an even number of eliminations here when there was a sub. Like, it's designed for this edge case. And if you read it with that information, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
The problem is when you go to interpret what is written and there's a rules meeting that says something slightly different.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a rule that's potentially poorly written and not extremely clear. Mm-hmm. And you have 2 criteria that you get to the end of this match here. And if, again, you can talk about the scoring, but the scoring on the night is 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, 10-8, 47-47 for each team.
Right.
You have 2 bullet points now that call for how you deal with this situation. One says New Wave, one says B team. Mm-hmm. Your rules meeting said B team.
Right. But the way your rules are written, it says New Wave.
It says B team. One bullet's like, I think the first bullet is designed for this edge case. The second bullet also covers this case as well, but it's not an and or an or an if. There's no hierarchy built into the way that the rules are staged. Usually when you have 2 bullets like this in a reg or in a rule, you'll have subparts and bullets, and you'll have like a larger explanation, like This is your superseding criteria, and here's how you deal with edge case 1, here's how you deal with edge case 2, edge case 3. They're not called edge cases, but like odd situations here for like industry codes, or, if you have these criteria, you meet these. The rule isn't written like that in the document that we've seen. And as a result, you deal with this controversy. Again, you make it right. I think the donor making it right is, it's great to do that. Craig disagreed with it, which I thought was funny because I think he stands by it. Regardless, it doesn't matter. The records on the night don't change, which for me is the thing I kind of care about weirdly, like from a longevity perspective for the sport.
That's what always be written. Hey, this person defeated that person.
The teams isn't really going to be written. No. Like, New Wave won the whole thing. If you go look at Tapology, I don't believe they're going to have like a New Wave wins this or B team wins this. Nah. It's all by matches.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's all written like individual matches happened. It was in this format for this tournament. But it's like
even Rodriguez, BJJ Heroes. I mean, BJJ Heroes might just have this on individual match thing. Say, hey, Nicky Rod defeated Luke Griffith, blah, blah, blah.
And like it's part of this larger tournament. But like at the end of like from a long-standing thing, as long as all the athletes got paid, the records kind of stand for who won the matches. Mm-hmm. And it teaches us all as a community to be much more clear with how we write rules if $1 million is on the line. Because it's unfortunate, honestly. You read it. You can read both those bullets and different people can interpret different, which is why you have field law, which is why you have like, there's like terms for basically reg interpretation from a governing body will basically put out a rule and put out like an interpretation of that rule where it's like, hey, it says this and we have interpreted this to mean this 4-page document.
Right.
Essentially where it's like, yeah, it's a paragraph reg. And then we've explained essentially what's here and how we got there. And it's a ruling essentially on the reg by the agency that issues the reg. And they're super interesting documents. And if you ever get into a new field that has some governance body, and the governance body is worth something, they will usually have these sort of supplemental documents that explain and go into very, very big detail on things exactly like this moment. Because if you have corporate interests on the line in a regulated industry, this stuff comes up in court. And as a result, there are rules and regs and laws. And if you don't write things bulletproof, and my favorite saying, I got it years ago, and I've used it actually in a proceeding, although that may have been the intent, that is not what was written. And this is a moment where, this is what you intended it to be.
But it wasn't written that way.
But it's not written that way. So New Wave is now upset because they're reading one set of the regs and they're interpreting it in one way to go, we win this. And B team's reading it, and their meetings that they had and the rules meeting they had goes, well, this is what we understood it as. And the problem is neither one's wrong.
Yeah.
Which is, and on the night they make a decision, they make a call. It hits the second bullet point there. It's this, here we have this criteria. This is a specific criteria for this. This is what we go to. This is why B team fielded Nick Rodriguez last and knew this going in. They were planning for this to happen. They were planning on, how this. New Wave looked at the first one. Okay, this is how we're planning. We won more of the matches. It's all about writing consistent rules and making sure that you can't get into a situation like this where you have an unclear rule for who the winner is.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but hopefully the community as a whole uses this to go and write better rules and more specific. Like we give IBJJF shit a lot of times for their 270-page rule book, but generally speaking, it addresses
generally get it right.
All of these. I don't know, right? You can interpret it, but it addresses all of these cases very specifically. You take this grip in this match, in this kind of match, at this way, this time, and it'll have a subsect, and it's like it's a rules document. If you look at how EPA write regs, or your state governing bodies write regs for law, they're written very, very, very specifically to deal with every possible edge case and interpretation. And it's just unfortunate we have the biggest tournament of the year end in controversy because we have a set of rules that is not that stands apart in a moment. So, would you have any thoughts on it?
I was about to pull you back, bro.
Cool.
Good. I was right on the edge. I was about to say, hey, where's the Sandman? We got to get this guy back.
We're done. Everyone gets paid.
No, I think it was handled correctly. I mean, I think it was very cool that they gave New Wave $1 million as well. I mean, to be honest with you, I thought they were going to call it a draw, at the, hey, it's a complete draw. You guys both split $1 million, $500,000 for you.
Funny.
That's what I thought was going to happen initially. But they gave B team the win, and I'm like, okay, score wise, I agree with that. But I'm like, some part of me before I even got into the rules, some part of me felt that it could have gone to New Wave.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It kind of they got three wins in the final, and there's more guys that won.
Yeah. It didn't feel like it was straightforward or clean. So they were still and so until I heard about the additional $1 million given to New Wave, I was like, I felt kind of dirty. This is a little.
It was
it was just okay. It's one of those deals where. So moving forward, I think that if they use this quintet kind of format, they need to kind of dial in some of these rules more, and you have to have transparency after all of these. And it can't be a draw. It can't be each round that no one gets submitted. It can't be a draw. They have to give some kind of score afterwards.
I think the opposite.
And give that transparency.
I think the opposite.
Really?
Quintet works because if you draw, you lose. It means nothing. We get to this draw here at the end because we have clean all the way through, and we have somebody won those draws.
Okay.
I think there's an avenue in a different format where this works, but the problem is you have guys getting a draw, both getting eliminated. You're running two different sets of rules at the same time. You're running a judging rule.
I can see that.
And you're running an elimination rule. And then you end up when you have super high level guys that can't put each other away with this problem at the end. Where it's well, it's really close. Yeah, man, it's a draw. Why? Because your 2, 4 team, 8 teams have come together, and your best of your best guys in this format have come, and they get to the end, and the teams are so well matched that it's a draw. And that's kind of honestly what you would expect in something like this, more so than not, because teams are so, if you have a big pool of teams, whittling them down to the best of the best of the best, it's going to be really close.
True. I don't know, but I think to keep that excitement going with it, to keep, because you kind of want to see a winner. I mean, a draw is like, and then you get kind of more
and then you have other criteria where it's like, then you judge the whole thing as a whole, or like you get into these weird edge case criteria for how to deal with a draw. I think in theory the points is good, but I think it breaks the way that quintet works, because then you have guys that are winning on a draw, and it makes it kind of this weird. Well, he dominated the match, and that draw suddenly isn't a draw. It's just a win that we don't really know about until we do know about it.
Right.
And then it's like, then it's not even really a draw. It's just an elimination if you don't get subbed. So then you have a win criteria where you can win if you eliminate the guys, but you can also win if you draw the guys, but just are more dominant in the matches. It makes for a very complicated set of rules, which leads in complicated sets of rules. You don't address every edge case, and you end up with exactly what we got here.
But I don't know. I disagree. I think if they'd have put the scoring after each match, it'd have been a lot more clear. But so I think you're right when they're combined into. Well,
I think for this one we knew it was like 10-9, 10-9, 10-9, and the last one was like probably 10-8.
I don't know, because then you had that Dorian, Ethan. Some people say it might 10-8. So it's kind of like
you would have known going in. You would have known that it was.
That's what I'm saying. So I think it would help the athletes. I think it would make it just. I appreciate your point, and you're right.
No, I can be wrong.
But I think we can both be right, because I think you could either have your extreme or my extreme, but the middle game, which they
open
have
scoring.
here,
The middle ground is open scoring. If you have a score, we talked about it last year.
Yeah.
They had open score at Quintet 1. We were like, that was amazing. It was amazing to know that. And we didn't have it this year, except for the women's matches that were like last year. And that was awesome to know halfway through the second round who won the first round. But you remember that?
Yeah.
For the Crevar match, they didn't show it.
Yeah.
It was weird to go back to not open scoring for this.
Yeah.
But I think the point was it's quintet. You're not really supposed to know. You're supposed to go and try to sub the guy. This event, I think, honestly, will go down in history as an event that we all learned a lot from. As putting together tournaments and rules and trying to do something new, really think them through. Really think about how they can end up poorly, how they can be gamed, how they can be modified. And then at the end of the day, either go to just MMA scoring, which has its own set of problems, but is very well established and known, or just use ADCC scoring. Yeah. Because it gives something for everyone.
But the great thing about this, no matter how you look at it, it brought a lot of eyes to jiu-jitsu. I got a lot of people paid, and it was exciting.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun to go out to. Day 2 was what day 1 wasn't super exciting.
Could you imagine this happening 5 years ago? Could you imagine any of this happening 5 years ago?
No.
What's the beauty
$1 million
of this?
tournament 5 years ago was absurd.
$1 million.
It was absurd.
Yeah.
But I think these things push the sport forward overall, because also you have 10 athletes now, or more than 10, because other guys got subs, walking away with hundreds of thousands of dollars to put into their communities and academies and the sport, and you put eyes on the sport, and guys that maybe wouldn't have trained the sport now, like, that was kind of cool, like, and bringing in getting more eyes on the sport. And the UFC has a BJJ arm now, and getting eyes on the sport is a good thing. Getting athletes paid is a good thing. And overall, 15 years ago, this tournament, it would have been for like 10 grand.
Yeah, if that. Yeah,
this would. I mean, actually, 15 years ago, this would have been
$500.
Maybe not 5. Yeah, but like, I think forget the big EBI tournament, the absolutes that fell apart. EBI, it was supposed to have Jeff Monson in it. It was supposed to have, like, right after Metamoris broke down. I think that was a $50,000 tournament, and it was wild. They were putting up that much money, and eventually that kind of became the norm for those tournaments. So that first absolute tournament was like, wow, that much money is on the line for that tournament. It was like 50 grand. And now we're 15 years later, and I think we're actually probably like 10 years later, and we are talking about our second $1 million tournament that's happened in the sport. And Spiders run $100,000 tournaments. And there was a $100,000 women's tournament here. Like, these things didn't exist a decade ago. Yeah. And it's awesome to be part of watching guys be able to make professional careers as competitors, as opposed to, cool, you go win a bunch of world titles for no money in IBJJF. you win some money in ADCC every couple of years if you can make it that far and you can get the money. And then you open an academy and you become a teacher and a school owner and you go into a teaching role.
Yep.
When you were previously a pro or an amateur athlete that was really good at the sport, but now you're a business person who's becoming an instructor in order to capitalize on that like success that you had as a competitor.
Yep.
And I've always thought that was kind of backwards. This way puts it into, cool, you're a competitor, you made your money. You probably can't retire with the money you make as a competitor, but at least you don't retire as a competitor all broken up and completely broke. You retire and have maybe supported yourself somewhat through the competitive scene if you were on that level and good enough, whereas that didn't exist 15 years ago. I'm very happy that it exists now, and it's really one of the main purposes of the show is to highlight tournaments that are paying out athletes, that are paying professional grapplers in the community to go and do what they do and not force them to be guys that sell instructionals and sell DVDs and run academies and schools. Like, I can go appreciate Giancarlo Bodoni as a competitor, and he doesn't have to go and run his own school. He can choose, like Hugo chooses to run his own school, has his own school. He can take that as an avenue. Nick Rodriguez has his own school. But they don't necessarily have to be doing that in their prime.
You can make a living being a professional competitor.
Yeah, and it's great to see that.
And something like this is setting the bar, is setting the foundation for better things in the future, because this is something that, you know, everyone's going to build from. Say, hey, if you want to do this kind of event, you can give out this kind of money. Obviously, you'd have to, you know, figure out how this was done and behind the scenes and kind of connect with, say, Craig and Bilal and kind of just get their secrets. You know,
so,
just kind of do some digging and take some of what they have, add some stuff to it. Yeah. And
there's a framework here that wasn't here 5 years ago, which is awesome. The sport can throw big events, and there is a pathway to running a second one.
And I am curious to see if they did make any money the second time around.
I do not think they did, but. Again, I like that we got two of them. I think with how this one was received and the controversy, I do not, unfortunately, think we will get a third one. I think Craig is probably, it seems like he's done, frustrated. This ended up not, you know, the cool story that they wanted, which sucks because it's a $1 million tournament.
But I do say everyone that competed got at least $10,002, right?
Was this?
I think it was $10,002
awesome.
just for showing up.
Hey man, guys got paid.
Can you imagine? They each got $10,000 just for showing up, and the grand prize for ADCC used to be what, $10,000 for winning?
Super was 50.
Well, not for super fight, but just
for a division.
Was it 20 or 25?
Yeah, but see, I have a bone to pick a little bit about that, because back when ADCC was doing that, there weren't paid tournaments. So it's like you were there paying money out to athletes before that was a thing.
But last year, though, what was the payout?
It was the same. It was the same still.
Yeah.
And it's the same as it's been for a long time. And that's one of the things that Mo was kind of trying to push and change for. But we got another women's division, which I think was well needed and overdue. And it was like you can only make so many changes at the same time. True. So I would like to see the money go into the athletes.
Yeah.
But also I would like to see another ADCC get run. Yeah. ADCC get run.
Yeah.
And like, if they all run in the negative every time, eventually somebody's good graces and like you're just not going to have that tournament that was paying guys out.
True.
And it's like we may not see another CJI 3. It was great. Guys got paid out. It was awesome. But we've been seeing ADCCs for 20 plus years now. Likely we're going to continue to see them. And so I think like, do I want to see the athletes get paid as much as possible? Absolutely. But I also want to see the next generation of athlete be able to go get that money that's there. There's money going to be there.
Yeah,
so.
And I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Do you want to talk about Craig and Chael?
No.
I don't think it was a real match.
I think it was.
It didn't seem like it was a real match. I don't really have much else on it. It didn't look like a real match. If you want to see the real match, go back and watch ADCC 2017. That was a real match. I don't think this was a real match, and I don't really have go back and watch the Sakuraba matches that he had at Quintet with his buddies. Kind of very similar vein to that. And I think Chael put it on as a show and did the theatrics to really make a point that it was a fun match.
Yeah.
But it was like odd, and like by immediately in the stands, we all kind of went, okay, this is fake. Let's move back on to the other tournament. Because it's
He wasn't out. I mean, he was supposedly choked out twice via buggy choke, and you can just tell he wasn't
wasn't.
I've seen people get choked out, and it's like, no, he wasn't out. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he was totally in control of his faculties when he got up and he's shaking. Oh yeah, I'm like, no, man, nope.
Yeah,
nope.
But regardless, so it was there. It was a moment that happened on the show. Again, if we do run another one, I would love to have less interstitials. The Hanato bits did not play well this time. Really could do without those. They were okay the first time. Online in the arena, we were all every time. After like the first one, we were all ready for it to be done immediately. Yeah. Like
even watching it live, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it just didn't hit this time.
No.
But again, overall, I was happy I went out. I would have been disappointed to not go out to it. You said the broadcast was pretty good on your end from the YouTube side.
Yep, I had to break it up in a couple of different chunks. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was it 7 hours and 5 hours, something like that.
They were long.
A long time. So
yeah, it was good overall.
Overall successful, I think.
Yeah. And kind of closing thoughts. Anything fun going on this week for you? We're going to cover trials next week. Super excited. We're back in ADCC season. I was looking at my flights for trials today, actually, for Orlando, because my parents are in Orlando now, and I'm like, they're on travel, and they're like, when do you come down? I was like, I'm November 17th to 15th through 17th, I think. And so they're like, awesome. So it was cool to see my parents, because I haven't seen them in like 2 years almost. So it'd be exciting to go down and see them, see some jiu-jitsu, bring my wife down, and I'm excited for that now. But I realize that's like 6 weeks away, and I'm like, oh, that's coming up. I got to book those flights kind of soon.
Yep. Because they will continue to go up. They won't get any cheaper.
But it's Florida from Baltimore is pretty cheap usually. So that's on the docket. European trials are next week. Anything fun you got going on?
No, man. I just follow my kids to play soccer. That's about it. And I try to train. Yeah, that's it, man.
We missed you last night. We didn't get a chance to train together.
Yeah,
we had some fun rounds.
Yeah,
we had Josh both did the same pass to us.
And my back still hurts.
And my back still hurts as well. Yeah. He cracked my entire back, and I was
Damn
like, I'm just
Josh.
gonna, I don't give up the pass very easy. Like, give it up. That was one where I went, oh, I'm just gonna let you pass. I do this less than once a year, and he got me. That's why I was like, I always kind of forget sometimes when Josh really decides to like turn it on, how good that dude is, and I'm like, oh right, I forget sometimes.
And I have my back, and then my neck, and my neck and my back, and yeah.
So it was good. We had a fun training. So it was the last day that the old Baltimore Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym was open. So I went and trained in the morning.
Oh, I didn't. I missed it.
At that open at Sirius Sunday.
I missed it.
So I get to get the last day, because I've been there for 10 years. And then went to the Gamma to run our open mat at night. And I slept so good.
I didn't.
I looked at my sleep tracker, and it was like all like the blue, which is like you only get that when it's the deep good sleep. And I went, that makes sense. I trained pretty hard today, twice. And nowadays, I'm not a 2-a-day guy. So it was cool. We have a new gym opening up here in a week. So it's awesome to see this kind of finally stuff get moved over to the new gym. The new spot looks amazing. And just gonna train this week.
Yeah, I can't wait to train there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. So any closing thoughts, Corey?
Nope.
All right. Well, as always in the show, I'm your host, Mange, and my co-host,
Corey.
And we are the Grappling Reruns, and that's what it is. Stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.